Colleagues, not a debate about the public versus the private sector. Usdaw members rely on public services. Our kids go to local authority schools. We need a change of government, and that requires work within the constituencies, bringing to the attention of the public why politics is important. The austerity is hurting. It's not hurting the class with the millions, it's hurting the people at the lowest end. And let me just give you a final illustration. Think about the criminal injuries compensation scheme, which effectively takes away compensation for the most vulnerable and low-paid workers. At a swipe of a pen, a massive change for hard-working workers. Colleagues, let this not be the end. Let's make sure we go back and politicise our members. Let's make sure we kick this government out and replace it with a government that is not only economic competent, but is based on fairness, values and justice. Thank you.
Thank you, John Hannett.
Comrades, brothers and sisters, you just heard John Hammett, his union's doing a hell of a lot of work on violence at work. Well, the one thing we should do about violence at work is have a go at this government for committing violence against every single worker at the workplace and every single worker that's unfortunately got a job. If anyone believes that there's not a call to do more than margin, they should have a look about the attacks that are going to take place on every single one of us from next year. Every single one of us who has a boss is now saying that you have got to be in employment for 2 years before you can go to a tribunal. And when you go to a tribunal, you're going to have to stump up nearly £1,500 just to get to a tribunal. At the same token goes, these people are running around the place, freezing people's pay, cutting people's pay, and what they're doing is they're not allowing workers to come into employment. It's absolutely madness when we've got 1 million builders on the dole and we've got a lack of social housing. Surely it's about time we put the builders back to work to build houses and give those people the right to have the social housing they deserve. It's about time we started laying down our demands, because it's no good Ed Miliband coming here and saying that he's with us today. We don't want someone who's just with us. We want him to turn around and say that he's on the side of working men and working women, and he's going to refuse to put in any further cuts. Brothers and sisters, as you know, George Osborne delivered a first-class rail ticket to London yesterday. I'm going to give you a first-class opportunity to tell that Cabinet what we should do. We've marched twice now. Not just here, but in Glasgow and in Belfast today. It's about time that meetings like this not only just don't walk up and down, but we turn around and reaffirm our faith and our belief. Now's the time to turn around and say that if we're all under attack, then we've all got to defend ourselves together. And it's about time that we look at the practicalities of having a 24-hour general strike and more defenders.
Let me start with a little story for you. Last Thursday in Coventry, Francis Maud, the millionaire member of the Cabinet, walked in for a meeting in the Coventry tax office. PCS members in their hundreds walked out the moment that he walked in. Now, that set me to thinking a bit more of that is what we need in order to show the government that we're serious. So let me pay tribute from this rostrum to the hundreds of thousands of PCS members who have not only delivered services over the last year, but have taken strike action time and time and time again to defend their jobs and their services. Now, comrades, people say there's no alternative because we've got no money. Well, if we got no money, why don't bloody Starbucks pay their tax? Why doesn't Amazon pay their tax? Why are the rich paying 45 pence? We should tax the rich in order to save us from all of the cuts. Now, it's not difficult. If you haven't got enough money, You need to put people back to work. You need to collect the tax from those who can afford it. And then you need to put money into our economy. And you know what? It's obvious. Everybody agrees with us. But George Osborne, when he's not dodging his fare, is not prepared to change course. So comrades, my union has this message, and it's simple. 18 months ago we came to this park and we had the most fantastic day. We're here again today, another brilliant turnout. But we have to be honest, we are in a worse place today than we were a year and a half ago. There's been more cuts, more pay freezes, more privatisation. So that means we've got to ask ourselves, what are we going to do about it? And I think this, and my union thinks this, if winning the argument doesn't stop them, if marching doesn't stop them, then what we've got to do is what they've done in France, in Greece, in Portugal and in Spain. And we need to have strike action right across the economy. And I tell you what, I'll tell you something. Imagine how we'll feel if we knock the smile off the faces of the millionaires in the cabinet and we have more nurses, more teachers, more people building houses. Our society will be a far better place to be. But comrades, it's not enough to wish for it. It's not enough to hope for it. We've got to make it happen. Let's get back to your workplaces, the length and breadth of the country, and say to our leaders of our movement, and to me included, the time has come to strike, and when we strike together, we can win. Greetings, comrades, keep up the struggle.
Congratulations to every single one of you here today. I can see a sea of faces. Give yourselves a big cheer. To stand up for the millions of ordinary working people and families who are bearing the brunt of this government's ideological policies, which are creating a society riven with inequality. You stand here as parents, as grandparents, as taxpayers, as members of the public, as union members, as pensioners, as ordinary families and working people. Every single policy from this government drips with contempt for working people in this country. Every day, the misery and the inequality deepens. Education, social, economic policies are hitting hard the most